Hi folks, and welcome to another vlog. Today I'm going to be travelling on the ancient rickety old Bakerloo Line that's still in service, still going strong on the old 72 stock. I'm going to be completing the line from here where it starts at Harold and Woolstone, travelling all the way down through central London down to Elephant and Castle where it terminates. Come along with me on this epic adventure on this track, as I said before, on a shorter version of this line I've done, but I'm going to do the complete line of a time machine basically on wheels. So let's crack on. Okay, so we go down these stairs now to await the Bakerloo Line train. So over there in the far left is the National Rail Service, London North Western to London Euston. Now we could get that train back to Euston, which will take about 11 minutes. But I'm going to ride the entire Bakerloo Line. So like I was saying to you guys, down now goes to Middle Bay where the Bakerloo train sits, awaiting its return journey back to Elephant Castle, and then the two outside lines is where the Lioness line continues up to Watford Junction. Well, when the train does turn up, folks, I'll be back then. See you in a bit. And here she is, the 1972 stock that rides on the Bakerloo Line. This train this summer will be 73, beg your pardon folks, be 53 years old, which is the oldest running tube stock on the line. It is awaiting this current date and time approval for new stock to be put on the line, which is similar to the new 24 stock on the Piccadilly line. So this is what's going to happen now, folks. They're going to pull into the sidings. Well, once the stock is on you're clear.
Please stand well clear of the exit. Platform is free.
Right folks, where I came in, I thought that was just it, but there's another exit over there where I believe there's more shops and all that over there. But obviously I don't want to miss this train, because as you know folks, I'm doing this during school hours.
Platform 2 for the 10:32 Lioness Line service to London Euston. Calling at Kenton, South Kenton, North Wembley, Wembley Central, Stonebridge Park, Harlesden, Willesden Junction, Kensal Green, Queen's Park, Kilburn High Road, South Hampstead and London Euston. Please note, some of the lifts at Wembley Central are currently out of service. Please speak to a member of staff if you need further assistance.
Right, let's see if I can get one this time. I'll see if we go the opposite way folks. Got ya. Okay folks, when I see the train start moving, I'll see you in a moment. Okay folks, and here comes our class 1972 tube stock for the Bakerloo Line.
Platform 2 for the 10:38 London Underground service to Elephant and Castle.
And you got a step down. So that's a bit of a dozy, that one folks. The old bouncy comfy seats. The interior. Obviously it got refurbished back in the early 2000s, I believe it was, when they went through a programme of upgrading it. And there's the line for the Bakerloo Line. Now, I've already showed you the platform one. This is the carriage one folks.
This is a Bakerloo Line train to Elephant and Castle.
Obviously when we go underground, it'll be more me filming myself, but also just mostly tunnel. Get ready for a nice bumpy ride. And we sat in the car that is a generator carriage. Quite a little folks. But you watched this old beast in action. What's it do to the station? But yes, talking about replacing these trains with the new stock, obviously they've got to work out all the bends and the whatever on the tunnels in central London, and obviously upgrading the systems and all that, so there's a lot involved.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Okay, because that's in central London, it does that.
mind the gap between the train and the platform.
in the windows. Whereas all the other stops, they're updated, they're whatever. Don't have that anymore. They have it apart from where the posters are, so to speak. On the other side. Whoa. The train just shook because of a high-speed train passing on its tracks next door. Brilliant. Love it. Wait for the train to leave. And it looks like the sun's now coming out as well, which just makes it almost perfect, guys. Fun fact about this line, they're finally, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong down the comments down below, time of recording in the latter part of May 2025, they've actually agreed to the extension from Elephant and Castle down to Lewisham and possibly on to Hayes and Harlington. On the other side of it, because of it, you've got to be all done up, prepared, you name it, put a new stop on the trains and all that. It won't be until about 2035 at least. I wonder what's going to happen to these 72 stocks when they do finally get replaced.
The next station is North Wembley. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Will they end up on Yard or what? Who knows? Maybe. Right, back to the other side. But again, you know my policy, folks, when the train starts filling up, I will continually show myself out of respect for everybody else.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Okay, so the next station is Wembley Central, where the famous Wembley Stadium is. They have a couple of spare train units kept in the depot for the Bakerloo Line to be used as spare parts for the trains that are running on the line.
The next station is Wembley Central. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. All text reach transfer through on 61016 and we'll get it sorted. That's 61016. See it, say it, sorted. Exit here from Wembley Stadium. This is Wembley Central. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. Exit here for Wembley Stadium.
Now that's interesting to note. On the Line S line they call it the National Stadium, and on the Bakerloo line they call it Wembley Stadium. Interesting. Oh, and the other thing about sharing tracks between the underground and the overground. lines is if one of them unfortunately breaks down, it throws out not one line but two lines. Because you can't exactly put the overground on the high speed lines.
Stonebridge Park. Please mind the
This
gap
line has two
between the
depots
train
here,
and the
Stonebridge.
platform.
On one, that's the 11th. Which job is called London Road Depot.
This is Stonebridge Park. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
So the train's slowly filling up. Okay folks, so I'll start filming myself a bit more now because the train is slowly but surely starting to fill up. give this in and show the effectivity of how old these old girls are.
The next station is Wilton Junction. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
And what workforces they are. So Wilton Junction, obviously changed for the overground lines.
This is Wilton Junction. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. Change here for London Overground.
Right, so next station is Kensal Green. And then Queen's Park, where the overground trains and the underground trains part where they go onto their own tracks. And we get to go through what they call the famous shed, for where most of the trains turn around at Queen's Park. Typical service is about every 15 minutes from Queen's Park to Harold and Woolston. But obviously alternatively you've got the Lioness line, overground line, that runs also every 15 minutes in between that. So on average, if you go between Queen's Park and Harold and Woolston, for example, you're looking about a train every 8 minutes, depending on what line pulls up first. Folks. So we're now going to go into the famous shed.
The next station is Queen's Park. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform. Change here for London Overground.
There's a train there waiting probably after this one to leave. Let's head back into central London. And they can only go 10 miles an hour through here. Oh, there goes another one parking up. Bakerloo is actually on its own tracks, and there's row over the back and in front of me, it's on its own tracks.
This is Queen's Park. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Right, okay, so we're now going to go into the tunnel. We're going to rain down underground throughout the rest of the line. Get it wrong as well, like the next person.
Designated rail. The Bakerloo Line train to Elephant Castle. This is Warwick Avenue. Find the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the door.
There you go. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that to happen. Please mind the closing doors.
This is Edgware Road. This is the Bakerloo Line train to Elephant and Castle.
Next stop is Marylebone.
This is Marylebone. Join here the National Rail Service. This is the Bakerloo Line train to Elephant and Castle.
Next stop is Baker Street. The famous Sherlock Holmes, which is actually down Baker Street itself. Regis Park for London Zoo is the next stop.
For local parties to ZFL, London Zoo. Victoria Line. This is the Bakerloo Line train to Elephant and Castle.
Next station is Piccadilly Circus.
National Rail services. Exit here for Trafalgar Square, National Gallery and National Portrait Gallery. This is a Bakerloo Line train to Elephant and Castle.
Okay folks, the next station's Embankment, and this is the quickest between two stations, about 30 seconds I think it is.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Both
Change here for the circle.
the Northern Line and the Bakerloo Line, it's like 30 seconds between the two stations. So they need to change with both stations of Embankment and Charing Cross.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Mind the gap, please.
Right, so the next station is Lambeth North.
Lambeth North. Exit here for the Imperial War Museum. This is a Bakerloo Line train to Elephant and Castle.
Right folks, next stop is Elephant and Castle, where this train terminates and comes to the end of its line before it returns back to either Queen's Park on a short ride or the full route of Harold and Wilston. Say that I've another line completed from end to end from tick. Some lines, like the Northern Line, there's like the Piccadilly line, separate videos because of them for their lines. But lines like this,
The next station is Elephant and Castle, where this train terminates. Change here for the suburbs line and national rail services. All change, please.
Yeah, and lines like Victoria Line, Waterloo City, Circle, yeah, lines like that. I could do in one video, but lines like District, Metropolitan, and certain parts of Metropolitan, you know, it has to be in stages, but it's still be classed as a complete line because it just be on different videos and stuff. So, let's get off the train now, folks. Just say that I've been here. Right, okay. So where's the way out? Is it that way or is it that way? Like I said to you before, down there is like a sidings for now, but it will be one day the extension to Lewisham and beyond.
Use the same single bank card or smartphone.
Right, well folks, I hope you enjoyed this entire ride from Howard and Woolstone down to Elephant and Castle. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe and push the little notification bell for when I release some more videos and similar content on my channel. Right, until next time folks, crack on, bye bye.